Okay, let me bring on Lenny Dykstra now. It is appropriate for Labor Day. Most people think about Labor Day and Lenny Dykstra in terms of being in a pennant race. Just about every year he was on the Mets. And I guess for 1 year when he was in the Phillies, Labor Day being when things go into crunch time in baseball. But Lenny Dykstra is related to Labor Day for another reason not many people know about. I mean, they know he's a very colorful guy, was a great player, one of the best leadoff hitters ever. But he had a big role in ending the labor impasse in baseball in 1994-95, and here he is. He's going to tell us about that. Lenny, thanks for joining me.
Hey, yeah, I'm all right, man. Thanks for having me, and happy Labor Day, bro.
Yeah. All right. People don't know.
Is that what you're supposed to say? Happy Labor Day?
I guess so, yeah. I mean, Happy Memorial Day is a little weird, like when you're remembering
I don't know.
Battle, but Happy Labor Day is
good.
Holidays
are weird, man. Holidays are just...
Yeah, in Florida, Labor Day is a little sad in other parts of the country because in the Northeast, it's the end of the good weather of going to the beach. But in Florida, where I am, not quite as bad. You'd probably like Florida better after Labor Day.
It's a fossil factory in Florida, bro.
No, I was with you in Florida 2 weeks ago in Clearwater, and you hated it.
Let's get this on, man.
Okay. You hate hot weather. I just want people to know that. Okay, your role.
Well, I hate cold weather, too.
Well, you hit pretty well in October. I mean, for a guy who hated cold weather.
Believe that.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about labor. And obviously labor meaning we had the longest, in 1994 it was the longest strike in Major League Baseball history, baseball strike. And, we're talking about numbers that are not like reality to the normal, person. But I was losing $30,000 a day, a day. So we got to the point where I literally started making fake money, monopoly money, and $30,000, and I'd taking costs in the fireplace, and I'd say that's what I lost today, and that's what I lost yesterday, and that's what I'm gonna lose tomorrow.
Lenny, let me just remind people who may not know the exact years of your career. You were one of the top players in baseball. In 1993, you were second in National League MVP voting. You were in the World Series.
Second most highest paid player at one point.
Yeah, so not everyone was losing $30,000 a day. You were a superstar at that point in your career.
Yeah, but a lot of guys were, though.
Right.
What's the did 25, 30? But back going forward. So remember, as an athlete or a baseball player, you have a small window to earn. First of all, to get to the big leagues and then to stay in the big leagues is the hardest thing. Getting there, people get there, but to stay there is the hardest thing. But once you accumulate time, you start getting paid. But anyway, so this strike is going on and on and on, and they cancel the World Series, and 200 days into it, I've done a few interviews, but now I'm like, it just got to end. This can't continue. This is crazy. And the fans were, they were so, it was just a really, really rough period of time in that 94, situation and right into 95. That being said, I called up Don Pierre, who at the time was the head of the Players Association. That's probably when they had 6 employees. They only had 600. But remember, they don't pay for it. It comes out of the players' checks. And that, by the way, this is not in any way, shape, or form to belittle or talk bad about the players' union, because MLBPA has been an awesome and kind of set the mark for some other sports, So, but
I just want to make clear that so people understand, you were doing this. It was sort of a lockout, but you guys were paying you were making the sacrifice for future generations of player, and it's asking a lot of someone like you, who was at your peak earning power. You were already starting to feel the injuries at that point. It's a lot of personal sacrifice for you, for guys who would be playing today. I don't think people necessarily realize that.
That's exactly on point. And so remember, so what happens is, as a player, you think the union kind of you work for them, because they come in and they talk all fancy, but the reality is I'm their boss, meaning we pay their salaries. So, and a lot of players, they don't get that, but they got it in Orlando, Florida, when I called Don Farrah about 200 days in. I said, listen, I want you to set up a meeting with every player, with every agent, anybody involved in this strike, and I want to speak. And he said something. I shut him down real quick. I said, remember, you work for me. I'm your boss. I pay your salary. And someone's got to talk. Someone's got to get out there and take the lead. And so that's what I did. So we got to Orlando, and he planned it. It was a Saturday, I think. And there must have been, Adam, I'm telling you, man, it looked like thousands of people there, man. Mm-hmm. So my guy, you know, Dave Hollins, my
former
teammate and bodyguard and the most feared man in baseball, but he's got one of them old muscle shirts, you know, the old tank top ones. Mm-hmm. He's sitting in the front row, and so Don Farrah's announced, hey, Lenny wants to say a few, Lenny Dykstra wants to say a few words. And so there are all these people out there kind of mocking me, you know, when I'm talking, and Dave Holland stands up with his big head and he screams as loud as he can, shut the F up, mm-hmm. and let the man speak. And you could have heard a pin drop, man. I mean,
and this was with you having one of the highest statuses of anyone in baseball at that point in your career also.
Exactly. Well, when I was done speaking, like 30 players came up to me and said, wow, that was great, man. Exactly what I wanted to say. Mm-hmm. And blah, blah. Anyway, so it wasn't a coincidence the strike ended, you know, shortly thereafter, 232 days.
Yep.
But, and let me tell you what's not a coincidence. Let me tell you something that people will find amazing. This is how much the fans cared about it. This tells you how deep this had gone. In 1995 and 1996, I was voted on the National League All-Star team, and I didn't even really play. I mean, right. I was banged up, and
by injury. But you were always a fan favorite.
Not like that, though. I mean, I'm talking about to the point where, because that's when I knew my back was done. Right. But what I'm saying is,
they respected you.
I was voted in because I took charge of that strike. I mean, it wasn't because of my numbers, for sure.
Well, the fans always loved you in New York, and they loved you in Philadelphia, and they still do today. So I have a little skeptical. Okay, we only have like a minute left. Lenny, I got to get you on.
Yeah.
Just Labor Day. People say, oh, you make so much money as a baseball player. I think that may be true, but people don't realize what a grind it is, especially late in the season if you're not in a pennant race. Real quick, can you just share a little bit about that?
Well, that's a good point, actually, something that people don't talk about. But as everyone's aware, we pretty much know who's in the playoff hunt right now and who's not. I mean, in September. So the teams that are out.
And there weren't as many wild cards during your career also. Two teams
exactly
could be in the play-in hunt at this point.
So the team like the Phillies and you know these other teams that are completely out of it. So it becomes extremely painful, meaning like everybody's miserable. Because remember, they're all worried about getting fired, the managers and coaches. So now it's the fun factor leaves the building, okay? Because you're not playing for anything. Remember, like, no matter who you are, if you're not playing for something, that's why I'm a big believer in any kind of work that I do, any work or any business, and you have to incentivize your people, your employees, you know. And again, not that we weren't incentivized, we had big salaries, but you know, there's something different when you're going there to play for a playoff spot opposed to just going to finish off a season and call the jam, you know, go back home. I mean, the money doesn't even, because see, once you get the money, see, that's why my favorite saying is, and it just goes in any walk of life, the promise of money is actually much more powerful than the money itself. Meaning, so when you're on a contract year, like I was in '93, I mean, it wasn't a coincidence I played in every game except one the day after we clinched. I mean, I was on a contract year. So once you get that guaranteed contract, it just changes things, you know.
And you get money for
the human factor.
And you get money for making it to the World Series and winning the World Series, though you're going to play the same number of games whether you win or lose the World Series. Any final thoughts just on Labor Day?
Well, I've traveled around the world, no matter where I went. you always come back to the same thing, and that is we're lucky to live in America and be, in this country. I mean, look, there's other nice places, but it's still the best country to live in.
All right, Lenny, enjoy the rest of your Labor Day. And that is really all we have time for today on Backlash, so we will be back tomorrow with a new show. Thank you for listening.
All right, man.
Take care, Len.